Welcome. I'm Ava Ora.
And I'm Shiloh Dawn, and we are the co-founders of the Pleiadian Light Ascension Yard, a spiritual playground and growth accelerator for rising leaders.
And today is our very first pilot episode. So, welcome here. We're so excited to have you. And we're going to be taking you on a journey into the heart of play, Pleiadian Light Ascension Yard, where we're going to really get to dive into the misconceptions around what it actually means to be on an ascension journey. And you're going to get to learn how to activate your spiritual gifts and gain the courage to really take your next step as a rising light leader here in our new earth.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ava. So we're going to dive into a little bit of a backstory for all of you as this podcast means so much to us in so many different ways. And it's important for us to kind of share how we connected and how this even all came about. So you have an understanding of the foundation of what we're really creating here and what we're really coming to share with all of you as well. And so Ava and I met back in 2021, and we met on the land, some desert land of a friend of ours out in Joshua Tree. And I don't know if any of you remember, but back in 2020, there were these flower investments that went around, and I think they were called the Prosperity Blossoms. And it was a place for us to start connecting online, creating some financial abundance when the world was shut down. And so I thought, why not? Why not jump into this? It sounds amazing. It was the symbol of it was the flower of life, which you can see is all over our branding as well. And so, the reason why we want to share this is there's so many little synchronicities. And, we just hope in everything that we share, there's something that resonates and it just activates a little bit of an aha in you. And, something that we found kind of funny, right? And we were reflecting on this the other day, is neither of us made any money in those flower investments.
Lost
And
money, actually, to
we
be
both lost
precise.
money. And then here we are creating this incredible platform together. Membership movement is really what we're creating here together. And I never would have thought through saying yes to an investment or saying yes to being in a community that, even though that fell apart, I was able to gain so much more through this connection with Ava. And, we both made so many connections in that prosperity blossom as well. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so just a little reminder to you, if you've made an investment or some sort of connection and it feels like maybe, it's like, I really thought I really had a deep message that this was going to bring me prosperity or it was going to bring abundance into my life. Try and even in the moment, sometimes it's hard to take a moment and breathe through it and look at the bigger picture of what other opportunities are possibly coming through from me saying yes to this one thing and not needing to attach that one thing needs to be the thing. And getting to be in surrender and flow of the universe because, this is now a couple of years later or a few years later that we've actually started creating together. And so it's been a little bit of time. And, when I first met Ava on the land, there was just this instant connection. And it was like a soul remembering. And, we were chatting about this the other day, and she goes, "Do you realize that you shared a story about how you connected with the Pleiadians like within 5 minutes of meeting me?" And I started laughing. So I was like, oh, wow, I don't think I've really shared that story with many people. And the fact that I just blurted it out within 5 minutes of meeting you, it was this instant remembrance of our Pleiadian family that we are both so deeply connected to on a soul level and the Pleiades in general. And so that is the foundation of what really started to birth this connection. And I think I was on the land maybe for a couple of weeks. And and maybe you want to share a little bit more about this, but this was the first time, and we're going to share more about DiYeena. We're actually going to bring her in a little bit, and I'll let Ava just dive a little bit deeper into that. But it was the first time that you had consciously channeled DiYeena, under my understanding. And it was when I say the most like jaw-dropping thing I've ever experienced. I recall us being in the kitchen and you were like, I think DiYeena's close. Like we need to go into the trailer and connect with her. And I remember just going into the trailer at the time on the land, and you dropping into your channel and bringing DiYeena through, who is a Pleiadian, and she is part of the living Ma. And again, we'll dive into that a little bit deeper in a minute. But that was the first time DiYeena came through. And I remember my whole body just lighting up of the remembrance of, oh, wow, this couldn't be any other way. And of course, this is happening. And of course, I was led right to this moment to meet you and to be here for this experience. And I could just feel how our souls had aligned that long ago, before we had ever even decided to come into this human experience. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Ava?
It just brings such good memories, right? And it's really fascinating how just the orchestration. I'm sure you've had moments in your life as well. Those of you that are listening here, of just looking back on these pivotal moments in your life and just recognizing the divine hand in it all, right? And how beautifully life orchestrates when we allow it to, right? And that can really put you in the state of awe. And that was really the experience through just consciously choosing to bring in DiYeena. You know, I'll go into the whole story. We'll do a whole episode on channeling and my kind of origin story with DiYeena and all of that. But I'll give you a little bit of background in a minute here. But really just the origin story of Shiloh and I is just really so sweet, right? It was really just this deep remembrance of our Pleiadian ancestry, amongst other star systems as well, right? But just that connection of the Pleiadians, which many of you may not even know who the Pleiadians are, you know, and so we can also go into a little bit of that as well. And you know, these are beings that have really been supporting Earth for thousands of years in the planetary upgrade that's been happening here, and are really here to offer their love and support and guidance during this time and during this transition. Have really been helping humanity for a really long time. And some of our what DiYeena lovingly refers to as our celebrities here on our planet have actually been influenced heavily by the Pleiadians. And I know that these may be controversial topics because there's no way to prove these things, but this is really the information that we've received through through our specific channels. So it's fun, it's interesting. So then kind of like, how did we get here from that, right? It's been an evolution, but really it came out of this place of just, hey, you do Pleiadian stuff and you do Pleiadian stuff. We should do Pleiadian stuff together, you know? And just this decision really a year ago to start doing lives. And we did a few lives on Instagram and a couple on YouTube, and just really kind of began to explore that relationship. And you know, Shiloh and DiYeena have a really fascinating dynamic, which are going to get to experience. Just how their banter is so fun and so hilarious. And I just love the way that the two of you play off of each other, and quite literally. And it's just really, really fun. So it just started after recording all these. We're like, oh, we kind of need a place to put these recordings for people. And so it got, you know, these ideas of, well, do we create a membership? Do we go into business together? So it's just been this kind of ongoing evolution and this deep listening. We would bring in DiYeena and she would give us advice and give us these pieces, and, you know, really just drop these really important pieces every time, and focus on the frequency of play, and then getting a deeper understanding of why that's even important and what that even means. And all of these things, you're going to get a richer and deeper and broader understanding throughout all of the different episodes that are going to be going on here. But just to kind of get our toes wet here in this first pilot of really kind of the broader big broad strokes, right, of kind of how this all came about and why this is so important for our time in history right now. And maybe that could even be a question we bring in for DiYeena, is why are we here right now in this moment, and what is really the purpose of the Pleiadian? Like, why are they here, and what is really their role in helping us, is I think an important question for this first one. And yeah, so I don't know if there's anything. Oh, and then the other piece that really came through so strongly in one of the channelings, and it could have been through Shiloh or me or DiYeena, we all channel in different ways, is the importance of the power of 13. And that is really the kind of the foundation even of this whole movement. When we really say this is a movement, we're really saying that, and I know that's a big word, but it's really because of the power of what's happening here in our humanity, of shifting from the frequency of 12 into the frequency of 13, which is our original design, is our original blueprint makeup. And I don't know if you want to speak any more into that, Shiloh, but it's a really fascinating topic, and not to get us too far down that today, but just to at least touch on it because it's so rich and so important.
Yeah, it absolutely is important at this time. And everything that we've been tuning into together, and with DiYeena and the Living Ma, you already said it so beautifully, but the power of the 13 is our cyclical nature. It is the original blueprint of the human, right? And so we can even see how we have 13 moons, right? Women have 13 menstrual cycles a year. We are blueprinted and encoded for 13. Nature moves in the cyclical number of the 13. And we've actually been stripped in the Gregorian calendar to 12, right? Everything is in the cycle of 12. We even look at, right, scripture of like there were 12 disciples when really there were 13. And so we start to look into, well, 13, right? We just had Friday the 13th. And it's this taboo number. It's this day that is pumping fear into the collective. 13 is a number that you want to stay away from. So why is that, right? Something that I've been curious from a young age. 13 has actually been my favorite number since I was a little kid, because anytime that authority or the powers that be would go, oh, this is bad, I would always look at it and go, well, why? What is the purpose behind this? And 13 is connected into the rise of the divine feminine as well. And, there's, without getting too off topic, right? It's important that we don't fall too much into the shadow of the feminine, right? We're actually rising alongside the masculine, but there has been, right, this 12, this patriarchal kind of suppression for a long time. And women are starting to, and not even women, right? Just the feminine energetics are starting to awaken in every single being. And that is the power of 13 that's coming online within us, right? Even with the 12 strands of DNA, there's actually a 13th strand, right? The center column is the 13th strand. And we can start connecting with our higher self and start gaining information and connecting in that way. Our higher self resides at the 13th chakra, right? And so when we start to connect into all of the weavings of the 13, realizing there's a frequency here, and we're being called to calibrate to this frequency, to create a tonality, a resonance in our being, in our subtle bodies, to match the frequency of the 13. It is awakening who we truly are. And so when we talk about, this awakening, the elevation of human consciousness, this evolution that we're going through, even the movement that Ava is talking about, we are going through a movement of consciousness. And it is this 13 that is starting to weave and awaken within us. And so that is the foundation of what we're really bringing in these teachings, in the membership that we have as well, is really teaching you through so many different modalities and ways, through channelings and embodiment practices and activating spiritual gifts. There's so many different avenues, stepping into your leadership abilities and really understanding what ascension is, and really shattering the illusions of the maybe the misconceptions that have been placed on the ascension process. It really is bringing us back into our humanity. It's not the bypassing, it's the activating of the 13, and it's bringing us to the original blueprint of the human, right? We only use 10% of our brain. We're only tapping into like the first layer and level of what we're capable in the human form. And so there's a lot of outside noise, right? Distortion trying to pull us from that or create confusion for us to forget who we are. And so this is really a place of empowering you to remember this encoding of the 13, and that we get to hold this sacred space for all of you. This is meant to be a temple space for all of you to come in and to just be held and supported in this journey that we're all walking through together. And so that's the power of 13.
So beautifully said and so powerful. And that is, and I want to reiterate this point because we're going to be you're going to hear the word ascension a lot. And there's a lot of misconceptions around ascension, as Shiloh alluded to. And it really is activating the 13 dimensions within yourself, right? It's like we are infinite in our multidimensionality. And there is an original blueprint within the physicality of our dimensionality. And that is the 13 dimensions. And that is embodying and connecting into the fullness of who we are, and having that active relationship with our higher self, with the full aspects of who we are. And that is what allows us to really step into who we are meant to be and how we're meant to serve as rising leaders, because every single one of you that's tuning in here is a leader in some way, whether you're leading yourself, your family, your coworkers, your job, what in whatever way you're leading is really an embodiment of the fullness of yourself and being in integrity. There's really 13 levels of even leadership mastery that we teach as well within the higher levels of in tiers of what we offer and play. And so all of these things are really here to really help you learn how to gain the skill set to actually be more of who you are, be more embodied, be more in tune with who you are, not only in the third dimension, but the subtle dimensions, giving those as much attention as you are the third dimension. So when you're giving right relation to all these different dimensionalities within yourself, then you're able to move within these dimensionalities in a more fluid way, and you have more access to the higher aspects of yourself, which turns on your spiritual gifts. It turns on your intuition. It turns on your spiritual superpowers. It allows you to be connected to activating in your spiritual gifts, whether that is channeling, whether that is being able to see or being a healer, whatever it looks like for you. And in having a more clear and clean and right relationship with that energy. For some of you, your gifts are already activated and online, and you're already serving in that way. And so then this gets to be a refinement process, right? So this is really a little bit of a taste of what this container is here to hold for you and really help you. Really, it's a growth accelerator for anyone that's here to step in, knows you're here to serve, knows you're here to play in a bigger level and to serve our world in this new earth together. Like, we're really calling in the light leaders that know they're here to really be leaders in this new earth as we're shifting into these higher dimensional aspects of reality and to hold these frequencies. We're really looking for people that are awake and aware and ready to hold the higher frequency together and to create this really like a grid, a playground and grid around our planet, holding these anchor points of light around our planet. So this is just really, it's fun. It's so fun. And we're so glad that you're here on this journey with us together. And every episode, part of what we're here to do is actually connect you with the Pleiadians, bring in DiYeena and actually get to hear from the Pleiadian frequency themselves, which, do you want to say anything about that, Shiloh, before I start talking about DiYeena, or do we just go in for it?
Yeah, I would love to share a little bit. So, DiYeena is, she's a Pleiadian being from the Pleiades, part of the living Ma. And maybe I'll let you explain that a little bit deeper. But I'll just say that DiYeena has the most loving frequency, and she's so fun. Like, you'll feel her when she comes in, the energy shifts. And I say this all the time, but I can never get the smile off my face when she's in the room, because the frequency just activates a level of joy and bliss in my subtle bodies that like it's unexplainable until you just experience it. And she's also hilarious. And so it's like you're receiving this higher wisdom, this ancient knowledge that just through the frequency of her speaking is activating, it's awakening the dormant parts of your cellular DNA, is awakening the power of 13 is awakening just by hearing the frequency. And you can feel it. Like sometimes I feel like I'm like a giddy little kid when she comes in, where it's just this like excitement, like I'm going to Disneyland for the first time or something. Like it feels like that kind of energy. It's so pure. There's an innocence to it, and there's a power to it in that it is this divine ancient knowledge and wisdom that is just being like we're yearning for this right now on a collective level, whether we know it or not. And so that yearning, that calling for her to be here is why she's even here. And so if you're here listening to this, you're in for such a treat. And I can't wait for you to connect with her and experience what we're sharing in person.
Yeah, it's so fun. And so those that are not familiar with me or trance channeling or DiYeena or any, this is all new to you, which maybe it is. And but trance channeling there's many different levels of channeling, and I really want to kind of take a minute here to just demystify channeling a little bit, because there's a lot of opinions around channeling. Even myself and even my husband was skeptical when this first all started happening, and it's I think it's a normal part of the process to be skeptical, and I think it's healthy to be skeptical. I was skeptical, so I think it's great to have a healthy level of skepticism for those that may be coming in to hear a little bit in that frequency, and that's wonderful. I welcome you here in that space. And for those of you that are just, heard it or just know that this is, that you just can feel what's happening and are just ready for it. That's great too. But channeling is really all it is it's translating higher dimensional frequencies of information into our third dimensional reality, something that we can actually tangibly work with, feel, see, experience. And so in this case, I'm channeling frequency from the 13th dimension, which is where DiYeena specifically resides. It's where my higher self, your higher self, all of our higher selves reside at this frequency. It's the frequency where a lot of the living Ma, which is it's a spiral of knowledge that I actually channel, and it's a frequency. It's not necessarily a specific being. It's a frequency of energy that particular beings match that frequency. So DiYeena is not the only being that channels through me, but it is not. I don't just channel anything. Like I don't channel like people's loved ones that are on the other side. I don't channel like just random beings. There's actually contracted beings that I'm here to work with, and DiYeena is what's known as my gatekeeper. So she's the one that says yay or nay to anyone that comes through, first and foremost. And of course I do as well. She's there to kind of hold that line. And so beings that have come through include members of the living Ma are Mary Magdalene is one of the other main ones that comes through, and Mother Mary. And then others in the living Ma, St. Paul, Isis, Yeshua. These are all beings that have deep roots in Melchizedek. Okay, guys, I can't go through. Okay. Once we start naming names, they get a little like, don't forget. But just to say, there is a very large collective. And what I'll say is, the very first time that this happened, that DiYeena came through, it was a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't going and learning how to trance channel. I wasn't going and learning from anybody. How do we do this? I want to be a trance channel. That was never my intention or desire. So DiYeena literally, it was time, right? And so she came through and made it know that it was time, and that this was, and I had a little bit of a warning, I guess you could say, or a little bit of an inkling. About a decade prior to that, I actually went and had a little psychic reading. I used to be a manager for a metaphysical store and bookshop and all that kind of stuff, and we would do these psychic expos and things like that. And and so I just got a reading one day. I was like, oh, this person seems interesting. It was another trance channel, and she channeled your angels and your guides. And so I went and I had a reading. And during the reading, my guide just said, oh, and you're so psychic, in passing. And they're like, can you imagine doing what this one does? And pointing to the channel, the one that was channeling my guide. And I don't even know what I said. It was something like, I guess, like, what, I was so not interested in it. I was so not into it at all, actually. But I remembered that moment. I remembered the moment, and it stuck with me. And so fast forward 10 years later, when DiYeena comes through the very first time, unexpectedly, I knew, there's something in me knew, oh, this is what they were talking about. This is what my guides were talking about 10 years ago. And I got on the phone with that guide, with that trance channeler, who, thank God she was still alive. She was like she was getting up there in age, and I had to really look hard to find her, because she was just living a retired life somewhere. And, she just was not easy to find. And I called her up, and she was so excited to do the call, because she's like, oh my gosh, she's a Southern belle. And I just remember, my very first question to her, when I was like, I need a session with you. I need to connect, because this is happening. And she was so excited. And so my guides come in, and I asked them, it's like, first question, how do I know that I'm not channeling like something negative? How do I know I'm not channeling the devil? How do I know I'm channeling something pure? Because that was so important for me. I didn't want to do this at all if there was any possibility of there being anything that wasn't clean in the field. And the guides kind of chuckle, and they're like, well, you're of the angelic realm, is what they said to me. And so it's just not possible with the frequency that you're holding, and the frequency of the beings that are coming through. It's just not possible. And it's not in your contract to do so. And that's all I needed to hear. I was just like, okay, I can really just allow this to happen, even though it's not necessarily something that I would like. I don't like being in the front of the room or the center of the stage. I mean, I'm not uncomfortable doing it, but I don't need that. I'm not that person. And so it's just funny how it's like, okay, and you're going to go and you're going to trans channel the Pleiadians, and more is still unlocking and being revealed in that, as I kind of tune in and listen to what they're saying, and they just bring forth piece after piece after piece. But I just want to name that part for anyone who has the same question of like, how do we know that this is not something sideways, because that was my question. And so I just want to really say that, and that DiYeena, it really has a really pure frequency. And you'll hear more of my origin story. You'll kind of see my background and how there really was training. There really was deep training. I just didn't know that that's what I was training for when I was going through my life. So that's a little bit of a backstory on the channeling. But everyone channels is really what I was going to say, is that everyone channels in their own unique way, whether you're singing or painting or, creating music, or athlete, you're an athlete in the zone. We all have moments of channeling, and it's simply when we have that hit, or that download, or that information come through, or that intuition, or that gut feeling. This is just simply us, a lot of times our higher self. We're channeling our higher self. We're channeling the information we know to be true from our greater capacity of who we know ourselves to be. And so channeling just gets to be that, and so there's different levels of channeling. There's conscious channeling, where, just like where you heard a minute ago, where I was listening to all of the guides that are in the field here, some of them getting a little bit antsy of, are you going to name me? So I'm also able to hear them and communicate that way. And I'm all clearly in my body, right? That's a conscious level of channeling. Trance channeling is where I take a little bit more of a back seat in my body, and my soul kind of takes a step out, still, tethered in, but it's taking a step back. And basically the way DiYeena has said it is, it's like we kind of switch spots. So I kind of go up there with my Pleiadian family and hang out, and get my Pleiadian mom to brush my hair. So I don't know what's going on up there. We're just like having fun. And then she comes in and gets to be a little bit more front stage. So that's a little bit about what happens in the trance channeling session. The other question that people often ask is, what's my experience during the channeling? And it's similar, or if I remember those kind of things. And what I'll say to that is, it's kind of like when you wake up and you know you've had a dream, but you don't really remember all the details of the dream. But maybe you kind of have bits or pieces. That's kind of what it's like for me. I can kind of, depending on how close I stay, I can come really close, like especially when my children, I have young children, and they love to bring in DiYeena and play games with her. And when that kind of things happen, I just love to be so close. And so I stay close enough so that I can actually remember and kind of feel the experience a little bit as she's in. And then there's other times when doing a session for somebody or something like that, where I'm not really there. You know, I'm a little bit further back because I don't need to be there. You know, it's not relevant to me. So I can kind of choose how close I stay. And so I don't really remember everything. Like in these kind of conversations with Shiloh, I'm not choosing to stay that close because I don't need to. You know, Shiloh and I have a really intimate relationship, and we know each other well, and so I trust her. You know, and I trust the conversation. I trust DiYeena, and so I'm not really that close. I don't really remember that much, and it's actually a really healing experience for my body when the Pleiadians are in it. So it's just a really loving relationship, and it's really special and sweet. So I think we just get to go and bring her in. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. I can't wait.
Yeah. So I always give her a little gift, and she loves to sip the earth, is how she phrases it. You'll get to know her very well. So I have some earth drink for her today, which is it's Chaga and Reishi from Vermont. So you can tell her we harvested it off some land not too far from here. So if she's interested in what's in it, which she usually is, Shiloh, you can tell her. Mm-hmm. So anything else before we bring in the Pleiadians?
I don't think so. I think we're ready to go.
All right, wonderful. Well, I will go ahead and go right out, and we'll put you in touch with the Pleiadians. Here we go. Greetings, this is DiYeena of the Pleiadian family. You see, we are here. You see, very special day. You see, very special day. But first, we're going to take a little sip of the earth. You see, we know we are saying gratitude for the Ava body, saying gratitude for DiYeena. We're in relationship, you see. So we're going to take a little sip here. If you have your own sip of tea, you see, this would be a good time for us all to grab our drinks together. You see, take a little sip of the earth, and we all get to know each other and get to know where we are to each other, you see, because here is the idea. Here, I'll give you a sip and then I tell you about. Okay, so oh, that's very, very good. Oh, this is one of the best ones, Shiloh. You see, this is one of the better ones.
Yes.
We can feel it is very close to here. You see, the frequency is aligned with where we are, with where the body is, you see. So probably in Vermont or New Hampshire, somewhere in this area, you see, we are guessing.
Yes, I will say when I was just up there visiting, Ava's husband, Yeshua, made us some Chaga and Reishi tea that's in the mycelium network there on the land. And oof, so powerful, so powerful. So I'm excited for you to get to have that earth drink today.
Yes, you see, it's very, very, very dear to our, very, very close to home, we will say, you see, with the mushroom, you see, very close to home. You see the Pleiadians with the mushrooms, you see, it's very, very good, you see. Not that we were the ones, but you see, we know who, you see, bring to the earth, you see. But this is very good, you see. We like to have the mycelium because it's very connecting, you see. So why we take the sip of the earth, you see, why you take the sip of the earth, it gets you into the symmetry, into the circuitry of where you are, you see, because it is your body is meant to be in relation with the body of the earth, you see. And so when you are drinking the tea, you see, especially if it's tea you are harvesting from the plants where you are, you see, then you are developing a deeper relationship with the earth. It's able to anchor your frequency into the field a little bit stronger, makes your body stronger, makes your mind stronger, makes your energy stronger, you see. So very good. So we are feeling like this is a very special day, you see. We do not want to bypass the fact that this is a very big party day today. We're having a party.
It really is. It's such a party and such a celebration. that we have co-created this with you, DiYeena, as well, and all of the living Ma. And so we're just super grateful to be here and to get to create a platform for you to be here and share your wisdom and the ancient knowledge that's wanting to come through to the earth at this time, knowing that it's really here to support humanity. And so any of you that are listening here today, just know that, this is the first of many of these episodes that are really here to support you on this journey. So thank you, DiYeena, for being here. And we wanted to start off with a question of why are the Pleiadians here at this time? And how is that benefiting humanity, or anything that you want to share around that?
Well, it's very good, very good topic, you see. We've had a little bit of discussion, you see, here and there. You see, maybe some have heard, if they've been tapping it. They were the very first on the other YouTube before we start here, you see, or maybe they're in the members. You see, we've had little discussions here and there, or some people maybe even get to see DiYeena in the flesh, so to speak, you see, in the little group, something like this. You see, we have all of these ways where we are able to really gather together, you see, and really communicate in this way. It's very, very good, you see. Well, what we'll say about the Pleiadian frequency, you see, this is not new. This is not a new thing, not a new thing at all, you see. Very, very old, you see. Old as we can tell, you see, because you have this thing called time not real, you see, but we do our best, you see, in your world, you see, that seem very real. So in the realness of your time, you see, we've been here a very long time. Why? Well, you see, because, you see, we have done this. We have done what the earth is doing now. You see, we have gone through this is what you call the ascension journey, or the process of expanding into a higher frequency, not only with the beings that live on our planet, you see, but the planet itself going through its shift and upgrade, you see. So that is what is happening on your earth right now, is it is going through a frequency upgrade, you see, the Schumann resonance, you see, things like this, you see, funny names, you see, for the things, but basically the frequency of the earth, you see, is shifting, you see. It's really going through a little bit of a recalibration into a new note. Isn't that fascinating? So everything has a note. Everything has a sound. Your being has a sound, has a note to it. Every other being has a note and a sound, you see. And the earth has a note, a sound, you see. So all these notes and sounds are shifting into a new vibration frequency that is really attuning into more of what is already there, you see. So they're not really discovering anything new. You see, there's nothing new under the sun, you see. The old wise sages know this to be very true, you see. There is never anything so new, you see. But we are experiencing it new, in a new way, you see, because we are shifting our perspective. We are coming into a new place, a new point along creation. You see, we're coming into a new place on the sacred geometry spinning through time and space. You see, we are moving into a new point on the geometrical pattern, which opens up the frequency to a new way of being and residing, you see, on planet, in the physicality. So the experience of the physicality then has a little bit of a broader band, a little bit broader span, you see. So that is all fine and good, you see. So what do we need Pleiadians for, you see? Well, we will not say that you need us, you see. You could probably figure it out on your own, you see. Be very bump all the way down the road, you see. We are not necessarily a bad thing, you see. But some people don't prefer the bump, you see. They like to have a little bit more of a smoother ride, you see. And it is available. So why not, you see? So why not make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more pleasurable, you see, and a little bit more exciting, you see? So why not have a Pleiadian come and say, hey, you could do it this way, you see? We've tried it and it goes good, you see? Something like this, you see? So it is kind of like that, you see? So we have been here a long time, you see, providing a frequency both in the support of the energetic, so off planet, what you would call off planet, you see, in the higher realms, you see. So like your angels and your guides, kind of, you can think of it like that, you see. But there are also Pleiadians embodied, you see. So you have like Ava, Shiloh, you see, many of you actually have parts of your soul, your being, that have spent time in these other star systems, you see, prior to Earth, or what you would say alongside Earth, you see. So that is also taking place. We also have it in the animals, you see. Isn't that fascinating? So specifically, we like to go into the dolphins. Many of you know this, you see. Whales, you see. Tuna fish, you see, they swim alongside the dolphins. They have a synergistic relationship. So it's like that, you see. But why we go to the oceans, you see? Well, how much percentage of your oceans have the water? Quite a high percent, you see, is really, when you think about it. And it also transcends dimensionality, you see. So the water is a really smart technique, you see, for us to help upgrade the frequency and to gently provide a little bit of a just a little bit of a softening as we are going through this frequency shift, so that it does not feel so rough along the way, you see. So it is here, we are here to help the process. We are here to help the humans. We are here to provide support as you go through this challenging time, you see, because there is a lot of polarity in your world right now. And so depending on where you choose to put your energy, it really makes a big difference. So we are here to encourage you and remind you that it is your choice, your free will choice, to decide where you put your frequency, decide where you put your attention, where you put your energy, where you put your focus, you see. So this is where we do have the choice, you see. We cannot change necessarily. We can, you see, in a certain way, but there's always, in the world of polarity, this is part of what Earth is here for, is to be polarizing, to be in the world of polarity, because it is a very special training ground for learning love in a deeper way. If you can learn love in the frequencies of fear, in the frequencies of the division, you see, well, then you've really mastered the frequency of love. If you can do it in all of these ways, where you can be open-hearted, compassionate in the field of love, no matter what is happening, you see, no matter what is going on. And not many places you can do that, you see. So this is really a special place, you see. Many people, many of the ones that come here, and there's a very special training for that, you see. So we are not here to do away or to think that that part is bad, so to speak, that all of the things that we are quote unquote wrong with the world, we want to just change them all, because, well, to be honest with you, to be a little bit boring, you see, we can say, well, what about all the pain and all the suffering, you see? It is all perspective, you see. It is all perspective, you see. And it is a challenging place to be. And there is a lot of pain and suffering. And we are not here to say that this is not happening, because it is, you see. But where is your focus? Where is your role? And what are you here, your soul, here to experience, you see? And that is different for every single human on the planet, you see. And so it is important to know what you are here for. And it is important to have compassion for what others come for, you see. And so we are here to provide a little bit of a context of support to really be able to hold all of the different dimensionalities and frequencies and experiences that do take place on planet Earth. And remind you that for those of you that are light workers, star seeds, here to be a specific frequency on the planet, which many of you are, that are tuning in, you see, you have the choice. Are you going to be sucked down into the fear and play in those realms and then just get totally lost in your path? Or are you going to remember who you are? Are you going to come back into the frequency that you know you come to be, you see? And so that is here, just to remind you, you can be in that frequency. It is really good, you see. And it's not, again, to say that the other is necessarily not so good, but it is, everyone has the choices of where they go, you see. So this is a little bit why we come, you see. We've been here for the Yeshua, during the time of Jesus, for example, Isis, Magdalene, Saint Paul. You see, there are timings in your world, you see, that we have really been here supporting, you see, in the bigger way, you see. And so it is really like that, you see. And so there are moments in our time all over the planet where we are really here to really just gently and lovingly just be a little support and a little reminder that you can do this, you see, and that you are really here doing the best job that you can do to really be the love, you see, be the love and the frequency, and really help the world come into the new earth, you see, because that is really what you all come for, is really to hold the new earth together. And so you have to have support with that. It's not for any one person to do alone, you see. Everyone needs to work together. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a laugh from DiYeena to do, you see. That's what we feel, you see. Sometimes just have a little good chuckle. Wouldn't you say that's a good reason to come? That's what we think.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so much that I want to touch on and just kind of filter through of what you just talked about, DiYeena, because there's so much gold in everything that you just shared. And I think, for those that are new to Pleiadians and the Pleiadian frequency, understanding, just what you shared of, you've actually been here for thousands of years. This isn't something new, right? If we can even think of back to biblical times with Jesus, walking the earth, and the support was there. And the support is there in so many different ways, right? In this way that we're witnessing you here in Abba's body, sharing your wisdom and truth through that, through being in the ocean, embodying the spirit of the dolphin and the whale, and just knowing the scientific studies that have been done on the frequencies that are given off by whales and dolphins, and how that frequency really helps harmonize our planet and keep it at a certain tonality. And so it just makes so much sense that the Pleiadian energy would be connected into that. And then also hearing, right, that there's many star seeds here from many different star systems, and that we've actually lived in these other star systems, coming down here for this time on this planet to experience the human experience, and also to be here for this shift in consciousness, knowing that we have experienced this in the Pleiades, or in Lyra, or Arcturus, or or up in Sirius A or Sirius B, or many of the different star systems. There's so many that are out there that are here supporting, and that many souls have come from these different systems. And so just knowing, right, if you're here listening to this and you're questioning, am I a starseed? I just want to say you most likely are, right? If you're even, it's a frequency match. And so you're being, right, magnetized or guided here to click on this link, to listen to this, to be a support and a remembrance of, they're actually talking to me. And just knowing that you are here to be a light leader alongside us, right? There's no hierarchy journey. We're all rising together. And that's what I'm hearing, right? Even in this collective awakening and the shift that you're speaking of, we're even witnessing that through, you'd mentioned the Schumann resonance. And this shift is not here for one person to come and be our Messiah. It's here for all of us to rise together alongside each other, to remember that encoding that exists in every single one of us, that Christ consciousness that exists in every single one of us, that Pleiadian frequency that exists within us, and all of these higher dimension reality frequencies, the tonalities, right? I heard you say that we're shifting to a new tonality and a new frequency. And so that's really exciting to know, as something that I also heard you say is really tuning into, yes, there is pain and suffering here on this planet. And also, can we be this place of, I'll just say from my own experience, the last few years specifically for me have been absolutely heart shattering. And I've been dropped to my knees over and over and over again. And one of the biggest lessons is to keep my heart open when it wants to close off, when I want to put up more barriers, because when I go into the world and I'm vulnerable and I put my walls down, there's a possibility of getting hurt and experiencing pain, which is what I had experienced. And so many of us want to close down when really we're being asked to open and soften, right? While having boundaries and honoring self and the sacredness of self. But can we open our hearts and soften and really be a place of deep compassion and unconditional love for all of humanity, knowing that we're all going through this shift together. And, we're releasing thousands of years of hardwired programs that are not necessarily who we truly are. And we're remembering who we truly are. And so I just want to invite all of you to really dive into that question for yourself, especially over, the next couple of weeks of really diving into like, who am I? Who am I and why am I here? Right? We're asking DiYeena and the Pleiadians, like, why are you here? And so really diving into that on a soul level and asking yourself that intimate question. There's so much magic in the unlocking for you in that, and continuing to pull back those layers. So thank you, DiYeena. There's still so much in there that I want to kind of pull back, but I feel like you have even more to share for us right now.
Well, we are very grateful for you. This is what we love about the Shiloh. You see, we love that we can just go what you call the riff on the topic. You see, and then Shiloh, we can trust this has a steady hand to be able to take all the things that we are swirling around. You see over here, and she just gently puts them all nice and neat into a little package for you to understand. Isn't that fascinating? Very good, my dear. It's very, very good. Very, very helpful for people. You see, to hear the frequency, but then to actually hear the words too, you see, because sometimes DiYeena does a lot of the talk, you see, and it goes very fast, you see, especially when we get into certain topics, you see, there are certain things that may be hard to hold in the mind, you see. So to have another level of the distillation, very helpful for people. So we just want to honor you for the role that you play, important role that you play in this conversation. So thank you, my dear, for choosing to really do this in a really good way. It's very fun, you see. Plus, we get to joke around a little bit with you, which we love as well. You see, that's very our favorite part. You see. Is really the jokester, you see, getting a little bit of joking going on, you see. But we're going to have a little sip of the tea because you're expecting something very, very profound, you see. So before we figure out what that is, we're going to just sip a little bit of the earth first, you see, get a little grounded, as you say.
I'll have a sip of my earth over here with you. And if anyone over there listening has tea or anything, the invitation to all sip some earth together.
Well, this is really a good thing, you see, to get to know, you see, this very first episode. So you're off the hook for everyone listening. You're off the hook today, you see. But next time, you see, get a little bit of a drink in your hand. Get a little cozy in your corner. Make a little cozy corner for yourself. Really give yourself a little bit of a quiet moment to really drop in, because you are really getting to experience the frequency. It's really an offering. It's really a gift and a sacred exchange of the energetics, you see. So being in a place where you're really allowing yourself to really receive that every week, you see, to really give yourself that gift every week to do. Be very, very good for yourself, you see, very good for everyone, because it's not just for you, you see. When you do that, you're being a stronger anchor and magnet for that 13th dimensional frequency. Then we are all being able to expand into that a little bit more gracefully, you see. It's very good. What have you been talking about that we could really just riff some more? You see what we are saying, riff, you see. Well, one of the things that really was feeling like an important part. This is so delicious, you see, by the way. You see, we need to have this one maybe more. You see, whatever this one was, we can say to the other, very well done. Maybe this was made by her husband, you see, because he makes very good drinks, you see. Very good.
It must be, because he definitely makes good tea. I was actually going to ask Ava, I was going to say, oh, how can I get some of that tea down this way?
Yes, it's very, very delicious. You see, we can make it happen, you see, because it just you take the mushrooms and you dry them out, you see, then you can put them all over. You probably have well, maybe not so much where you are, my dear. You're right.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to find mushrooms that are not grown in some sort of a lab these days, where it's missing that mycelium connection. that's why I feel like that tea is so powerful and potent, because it's connecting you into the intelligence of the earth.
Precisely. Maybe that's a good place to go. You see, you are having that curiosity already, my dear, around the mushrooms. You see, maybe we
Yes.
can talk a little bit about the mushroom. It's in the field, you see. Do you have any questions about the mushroom? We could imagine you would have a question about the mushrooms.
Yeah, well, I'll say, this is actually something that I was like, do I bring this in this episode or do we save it for another? But I heard you at the beginning say that you didn't bring the mushrooms here, but you know who did. And so I like really caught that and I went, okay, we're going to come back to that one.
Well, that's what you call a cliffhanger. That's what you call a cliffhanger. You see, very good that we are not just leaving you hanging all week, you see, or maybe forever. You see, we never know when we get back to these things, you see. So it's very good that we did it today. That's very convenient for all of those humans who have the curiosity in the mind, you see. That would just have been very unkind, you see, to leave that one hanging, because that's a very good question, you see, very curious one. That is one for what you call the mind candy, or wanting to know in the mind, right? Really wanting to understand these parts, you see. It does not matter so much. What is it really going to do for you in your world? Nothing, you see. Just feel the curiosity in the mind, right? So in the interim of the conversation, what is really happening is you're getting more of the frequency, the Pleiadian frequency that the 13 is opening you, is really providing important code activations for you, my dears. So remembering that in all of the conversations, it is really that kind of a blessing, you see, for those who are in reciprocity with it and desire, you see. So there is also your free will to say yes or no to that, you see, and that is honored always, you see. But know that that is available in the frequency. So what we'll say, well, how far to go, you see, because this is not like one planetary system common and they're all here, you see. That's not necessarily the case, you see. So what has happened, you see, you have a little bit of like a smorgasbord, a little bit, you see. But these are from many different star systems, we'll say, you see, bringing almost like their gifts, you see, to Earth, bringing in specific frequencies, almost like we were talking about Lionsgate this past year, you see, where opening up frequencies, 8th dimensional frequencies, specifically through a stargate of other star systems that are new to planet Earth, you see, new frequencies to the Earth. So this was really other beings bringing their frequency to planet Earth, really as a gift, as an offering, you see, offering to Earth. Because they understand the importance of the planet of Earth in its relation to the cosmos, you see, where it is appropriately placed. It's like a very busy freeway, you see, very, very busy intersection, you could consider, you see, very many, close to many portals, you can put it like that, you see. So it's a good place, a jumping off place to go and travel, you see. And it's a very important one, as we said earlier, you see, in terms of Earth school, you see, and what is available here in the frequencies of learning and growing as a soul, you see. So it has importance, you see. And so many other planetary beings, you see, from other systems bring their frequency through for the knowing, for the knowledge for Earth, you see. So almost like this is saying we come in our peace, you see, we come with our hearts, you see, and this comes from our home, and we would like to give it as an offering here, you see, so that you understand where we come from, and to bring our frequency here, you see. So it begins to create a circuitry of connection then, from system to system. So not that it was not already there, but now it's like as if you had connected dots, you see, going, or like a line, if you're drawing up on a piece of paper that is not colored, but you can see the outline, you see. And then when you bring the mushroom from one star system to another, and then you have it anchored into both planets, you see, then all of a sudden it lights up, the connection lights up. And so then you have on the sacred geometrical patterning of the whole cosmos, of these star systems, these points on the pattern connecting and lighting up. It's a frequency now, it's a frequency match of communion, of connection, you see. So now we are in relationship. Now we are in relationship with all of these other star systems and the gifts that come with it, you see. So now we have had many gifts coming to earth, many offerings regarding the mushrooms, because they are really connecting into the wider consciousness of really what is, period, you see. So it is really infinite, you see, and it is infinite in terms of even the dimensionalities and the systems and the star systems, you see. So even too many to name, you see. So it is really like that. It's very broad thing, but it has really happened very, very many times. It's not a one-time thing, you see. And so it is really like that. This is really bringing the offerings to bring forth the knowledge from the other star systems to inform Earth, and to also open up the circuitry of connection between Earth and the other star systems, and also creating a way that then those frequencies can be in active relationship, you see. So then we here as humans now have access, have clearer access to these other frequencies of information, you see. Isn't that fascinating how that works?
Yes, I love the way that you worded that, and just in the way, I mean, I just had such a visual of all of this connection through all time and space and dimensions of reality. And I just love how you explained that, because it actually just connected so many dots for myself, and I'm sure for so many out there. Because there are many different kinds of mushrooms, right, connecting to the mycelium network. And so just even hearing that, right, there's different frequencies coming from different star systems and different beings, and knowing that there are certain types of mushrooms where I can feel that deep connection to these other star systems. Just even with that tea that you're drinking, the Chaga and Reishi, when I had that when I was in Vermont, my dream space that night was so vivid. It felt like I was just in a completely different dimension, on a totally other planet. And these aren't even psychoactive mushrooms, right? This is just Chaga and Reishi, but because those mushrooms are connected to the mycelium network and they're not actually grown in a lab somewhere, I was able to connect so deeply, and it was so profound. And so that makes a lot of sense, because when I think of being able to connect in the frequency to these other star systems through mushrooms, I think psychoactive, the psilocybin kind of mushroom. But now that I'm tuning into what I'm hearing you say, and I'm thinking back to my experience just having the Chaga and Reishi tea, I felt very deeply connected to other star systems with that as well. And so that just makes so much sense. And it really, I'm able to tune deeply into the frequency, the intelligence of the mycelium network. And I know, there's so much that we're learning about that, but that all just made so much sense. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that's really going to resonate and land with a lot of the viewers.
Yes, you see, we'll say that all the mushrooms, you see, are magical, you see. You see, they all serve a particular purpose, you see. And then you have the ones very interesting, you see. You have the ones that you would consider poisonous, you see. Isn't that a fascinating discussion as well? Because you have some that are, like you're saying, a little more subtle. You see, the Chaga, the Reishi, you see, but they have their superpower, right? That make you strong, you see. Because why? How does that work? You see, what is going on in the energetics of that? You see, because there's some people that are really curious about that. It is really strengthening your multidimensionality. You see, it's activating your different dimensionalities. You see, and so it is creating a stronger field, force field. And it is really why they say that the reishi. They even have the studies on the mothers that take the reishi when they're pregnant. You see, they have the reishi babies. You see, they say they have a presence about them, a strong aura. You see, and it is literally lightening up the aura. It is informing the auric field. You see, because there's the different dimensionalities of interconnection, you see. And the same thing is true, you see, whether it is in the subtler ways, you see, with those kind of magic mushrooms, or it is of the psychedelic, more that form of the magic mushroom, you see, that is more an intense version, but the same sort of deal where it is forming the multidimensionality aspects of your consciousness, you see. So they all work in a different way and a different field. But then you have this other variety that call poisonous ones, you see. Why they poisonous, or what happened there, you see? So not all that come, you see, are necessarily what you call of the good intent, you see, or the some maybe have a little bit more a different agenda, you see, than this coming all open-hearted with the gifts. They come a little bit maybe not as clean energy, you see. So they come with their gifts as well, and they're not exactly in the resonance of the human frequency. They're not helpful. You see, and same with even the animals, you see, not even helpful for the animals, but they still come, and they coming here with their own intention, and it's not always necessarily in alignment with the frequencies of what is here on the planet. So they then go into that category of poisonous, or not necessarily for human or animal consumption, you see, not recommended, you see, that kind of thing. But they all are gifts from other planetary systems, other star systems, other beings that are coming to inform. They're still doing their job of informing that particular frequency from that particular star system. So it still holds a role in the planet. And it's important to understand. So it is still providing an anchor point and reference point for that frequency, and you can still get to know a lot about the fullness of consciousness by tuning into these other frequencies. So not to say that that is for everyone, because this is again what you are here to explore and do, but we are saying even just sitting with the different energetics of the different mushrooms, being in the presence of it, you see, not even consuming, but just being near, you see, can really inform. It can inform your frequency. So this is really an interesting practice, you see, for some, perhaps, you see, to really go into. But the ones that are known as the super herbs, the super mushrooms, you see, that really light up the aura, and the ones even that are psychedelic, you see, they are activating the light body in different ways, you see, some a little bit more strengthening, you see, the auric field. Others are really there to inform consciousness, you see, to expand conscious awareness of what is, you see. So it is all here to repattern and reawaken the pattern that is already present within your form, and to really highlight those parts that maybe it's almost like neurons that are reconnecting, getting lighted up, you see, by getting used, by getting to actually have a job or a role to play, you see. So then all of a sudden you are lighting up more parts of your being, and wow, and we are going to use way more than 10%, you see, that kind of thing, you see. So we are getting to use more and more percentage of the human being that we are. Isn't that fascinating?
That's so fascinating. With you, there's so much there that I would love to unpack. But you know, the piece that I heard you speaking of the Reishi baby, it's funny, I was literally in my mind thinking about the Reishi babies, and then you started talking about it. And what I'm just hearing you say, right, it's lighting up more of your being, it's lighting up the neurons. You know, some of the studies that I had read of the Reishi baby, of mothers that were taking Reishi when they were pregnant, that these babies are literally coming out like being geniuses, and they're studying of why this is. And so that would make so much sense, that it's lighting up more neurons and giving more capacity of what already exists, the wiring that already exists within us. It's just plugging more of that in, lighting more of it up. It's activating more of the subtle bodies, lighting up more of the auric field. And that is the shift that we're going through as well. And so I can see how these gifts from these other star systems are here to support us, and also how the poisonous ones, right, are maybe here not in resonance with the human experience, but it's still a point on the earth to expand the multidimensionality of what we're capable of tuning and tapping into. And what I'm also hearing is none of it is like bad or wrong. It's just expanding the multidimensionality of what is capable, what we're capable of accessing here on the planet.
Precisely. You see, this is a very important part, you see, is that when we all, especially in the polarity of the dimensionality here on Earth, you see, it's very easy to go, well, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, and really stay in those places, you see, and to hold in those places, you see. And so we have our divisiveness, even amongst like political parties, all of these ways that we find ourselves, race, color, gender, origin, all of these things that we can choose to see division or separation, you see, or that the one is this way or one is that way, or this is that or that, and really boxing it all in, you see. And what we'll say, you see, is that really it all has a role to play. Every energy exists for a purpose, you see. And so when we can allow ourselves to be in the frequency of awe and honor for every single frequency, and when we say frequency, what does that include? It includes all beings, because every being is a particular note, a particular frequency. All sentient beings, you see, all life forms, all forms of life. You see, when we can be in honor and reverence and awe for the role that every frequency plays in the orchestration of the whole, you see, this is where we get to be masters of multidimensionality and really come into right relationship with the whole, you see, and understanding our particular part in it, knowing our note and how it sounds with all the other notes together. It starts to play a little bit of a symphony, you see. And then when we get to those parts or those places or those beings that maybe sound a little discordant, you see, this is why sometimes we just that one person that just rubs you the wrong way. You see, you just cannot stand to be around them. You see, oftentimes it's because you are a different frequency, a different note. You're playing two different notes on the scale that do not necessarily sound too good together, you see, literally. And so there's a part of your being that can hear that, even if your physical ears in the third dimension do not hear it. There are higher dimensions that are like, this is not a good note, you see. This is not a good chord, you see. And it just could not stand to be around it, you see. And so, but there can still be a little bit further apart where you are able to have an appreciation for that particular being's note, you see. And maybe it doesn't sound too good with yours, but you get it. You say, oh yes, but if you were with this other note and that other note, wow, that would sound amazing together, you see. And so getting to understand that everyone has their role to play, everyone has their part, and everything works in harmonic together, you see. And not everything works in harmonics with your particular note, you see. But that does not mean that it does not serve a purpose, you see. It does not mean that it is good or bad or right or wrong, or that there needs to be a divisiveness about it all, you see. But we can begin to bridge that gap when we understand the inner workings of it, how it is all connected, you see, and the beauty and the awe of it all, because it is really fascinating and really, if you could see it with your visual eyes, the beauty of all the fractals, meaning all the souls that are embodied, out of body, but the beauty of the fractals, you see, is so special, you see, and it is all creating and weaving every moment. We're all making choices in our free will of where to play on consciousness, you see, which direction to move on the sacred geometry of life, you see, and it just gets to light up different parts of the pattern. And we are lighting up together. And some days we're lighting over here or over there, or we're making a note over here, or playing a song over there, another song over there. And it is really working together, you see. And we only get to have a little bit of the storyline right over in this corner, but it is still all going on, you see. So when we get a poisonous mushroom that we walk by in the forest, you see, oh, we get a little taste of that note way out in the field of millions and millions and millions of eons away, you see. And same thing, you see, so we're getting these little drip drops of consciousness from all of the cosmos, you see, and getting to understand a little bit how we are all connected together. And so the invitation then is to really keep that in the forefront as you are moving through your day and moving through the ways that you go through, and you do the scrolling, or you do your all of your on the line things that you like to do, or the screens, or the shows, or the just everything that happens in our world, you see, or the news, you see, and maybe just really understanding that there is, we can have a little more compassion for one another. In the places where we disagree, you see, just being like, wow, they're playing a really important role right now. I'm feeling really, 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 really strong in who I am, you see, and knowing that they are feeling strong in who they are. And isn't that a beautiful thing, you see? But we do not have to match, you see. That'd be so boring if we were all matching. It'd be one note. Very boring, one note, you see. That's why we are where we are, you see. So they're very good, you see, but we have to be in right relationship and resonance with it all for it to be fun, you see, because that is the choice point. We get to have fun with it. Or we can be be bashing it all in fear of it all, or arguing all the time, or fighting everyone all the time, or just thinking that everything is just going to hell in the handbag, whatever you say, you see, it's all going to shit, you see. You say this about the world, you say, no, nothing good is going to happen here, or we have no hope for this earth, you see. And there is a storyline where that looks like that, you see, if you choose that perspective, you see. But we are here to tell you that is not a way, you see. It does not have to look like that for yourself or for humanity, you see. So, and it is by us really coming together and understanding all of our pieces and our parts within the whole. Is this making sense to you, my dear?
It's making perfect sense. And, I feel like this is a great time to start to wrap it up, as we're a little over time, which
Wrapping it up over time. You are expecting this one for DiYeena to get a little bit huffy puffy about you going into the time about it all. It is fine. We do not have to be on the time. There is only one time, you see, that is right now, you see. We are perfectly on the mark, you see, all the time, whether we are 15 minutes and we're going to give you all you need to know about life in one little bit, or we are into 3 hours of conversation and it is just the most lovely time you've ever had in your life. We can go all over the place in all of those ways. We do not have to be so specific with the timing, you see, of it all. This is really important, you see, because sometimes we'll want to expand it all. And sometimes we'll feel, oh, it can be a little shorter today. You see, we really nipped it in the bud, you see. So it can go both ways, you see. That would be the suggestion, you see, because DiYeena is a little bit part of the show too. We get a little bit of a say, maybe a little bit of a say, you see. We would like it.
I'll make sure that we're well aware to maybe put a 3-hour window.
Throw the time in the garbage and we'll forget about it for the next time.
I love it. But I do want to, just dive into a little bit about what you're just saying, because I feel like that's a really important part, right? We want to, I feel like a lot of society of what I'm seeing, and I'm assuming probably not a lot of people that are here watching this, right? Because we're most likely all, at least in a place of consciousness where we can understand these concepts. But, there's a lot of noise out there, especially, in the media or whatever, to make us feel like that things are bad or wrong outside of us. And, what I'm really hearing is there's a place for all of it, right? There's a place for our shadow, and there's a place for the collective shadow, and our light and the collective light. And it's, it's with us being in this 3-dimensional realm, in order for us to see our light, there's a shadow that light needs to cast over. And so it's, instead of rejecting these parts, it's, can I come with a deep place of compassion and unconditional love, which is what we were sharing earlier, and really love humanity and what we're moving through right now. And that doesn't mean that everything that's happening outside of us is, I don't even want to say right or wrong, but there are things that are happening outside of us that are causing some deep human suffering. And can we look at these pieces, and especially within us, of what that's stirring up, and what deeper parts and pieces and triggers are we being asked to look at individually, that we can start to tune into? Something that, that really deeply connects with this is, I tuned into a while ago, my name being Shiloh, it literally means peace. And, when all of the wars, the war was starting over in Palestine and Israel, I really tuned into, with my name being Shiloh, meaning peace. Shiloh is the original sacred city over in Israel. And this was a place where Jesus would bring his disciples in the Old Testament. And so I'm tuning into, how can I possibly bring peace to the war, to the suffering, to everything that's happening, this devastation that's happening on the planet? And I had such an instant message come back to me, which was, in order to know peace, we must know war. And I was guided inward of, where am I still at war with myself? And how can I bring peace internally within me? And by doing that, and then going out into the world and being a resonance for peace, creating that frequency, or being that frequency, because I've took a look at the war, the battle, and put down my all of my armor and everything that I've been holding on to and really resonating in a place of peace internally, then you give others permission to do the same when you go out into the world. Because just as, DiYeena is speaking of all these frequencies coming here, we're a frequency for that. And so that would be the invitation, right? And anything that you're looking outside of self is bad or wrong. Can you take a look at that trigger within you and just ask yourself, okay, where can I meet myself in this? And can I look at the different polarities that exist within me and what's being asked to be alchemized at this time so that we can start being in resonance with these higher frequencies? And that's how we don't spiritual bypass the things that are coming up, and also meet ourselves and embody and become a tuning fork for these higher frequencies that are available to us now.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
And giving honor and awareness to the parts that are bad, wrong, whatever it is, war, all these things, recognizing that these things are, they simply are, you see. So what is the part about all of this is there is no problem with any frequency. There is no problem with any of it, you see. Frequency is neutrality, you see, in essence, you see. What is the power of the human being is the ability to give meaning to frequency, to give story, to bring the frequency alive, to give it a song, to give it a story, you see. So we can either give it this very horrific story, this very horrific song, or we can give it a very joyful song, a very, very melodic song. So we get the choice in that, you see. We get to give it meaning, you see. But then we have to ask ourselves, does this need the meaning I'm giving? Does this energy, what is here, what is present, what is, does this need the meaning I'm giving? You see, because when we are looking at the human form and the quote unquote life, you see, as it be the be all end all, well, then it's very easy to go, well, the humans are dying, you see. Souls are dying, you see, but nothing ever dies, you see. This may be a little controversial or hard to understand for certain people, you see, but it is very but nothing is happening accidentally, you see. The souls that are choosing the experience to elevate into a new dimensionality through moving from one form to another, you see, that's all that is happening. We're moving from one form to another form, you see. And it is simply the evolution of the play of consciousness. It's really just one soul choosing to go from one point to another point of consciousness and play over there for a little bit, you see. Have a new experience, you see. Very hard for the souls that are left behind in that particular dimension to come to terms with that. You see that now that soul that was in that body, not doing that anymore. They're over there, you see. And then we have all these feelings around it. We have all of this pain around that. We have all of these things that come up with the human experience, because that is our superpower. That is a superpower, to be able to feel that deeply, to be able to have that deep of a connection with another soul, that we grieve their loss, their apparent loss. When all they did was just go to another store, you see. They just went down the road a little bit, you see. Went to go check out the sale down the road, you see. Something like this. They just went to another place, you see. Nothing ever dies, you see. And so when we are able to let go of the judgment of the thing that we think is happening, when we can just see it through the lens of what is, without giving it the energy or the story or the emotion, you see, it changes the way we relate. You see, we're not saying to just be these boxes with no energetics, you see, because that's not reality either. But when we get with this recognizing the power you have, that is really the point. You're recognizing how powerful you are to be able to take any neutral thing that happens anywhere in consciousness and give it a story and a meaning. And you get to choose how long you continue to believe that story is true. And you are the one gets to give the meaning and provide that meaning. And you get to decide when that story and that meaning gets to change. That's how powerful you are, you see. So recognizing that what we are doing with all of life, you see, and apparent death, you see, or apparent pain and suffering, recognize it is hard to understand that why would a soul choose to come into a form and experience pain, you see? Well, there's a million, billion reasons for it. You see, everyone in their own different journey. What we have to understand is we choose to play all the parts. If we're going to choose to have a moment in the light, we're going to have to choose to have a moment in the dark to understand what's happening there. So we are in the world of duality and polarity, where all gets to play, all gets to exist. We get to experience all of it, you see. And we are the ones that give the meaning to it all, you see. Is this making sense to you?
Yes, it's making perfect sense, and it's such a deeper understanding of our perception of life and reality and what's happening internally and externally is so important, because it is the meaning of whatever we give to it. If we can even think of belief systems, right? It's the difference in how maybe two different people, right, growing up in the same household, go out and have two completely different lives. Maybe one is, dismantled from what they had experienced, and the other is moving through it, in a more easeful way, and they experience the same thing. It's what story, what kind of attachments, and what kind of charge or perception or perspective that we have of these different experiences. And so I think that's an invitation for our viewers too, to really take a moment and tune into your life and the different perspectives of the reality that's happening around you, and really tune in of, is there a negative attachment to something that actually doesn't need to be there? And is there something that's being asked to be looked at? And maybe this is even why this conversation is coming up, to shift perspective in that, to not even necessarily needing to change or fix, but is there something that's being asked to be looked at of the story that is being attached to the specific thing? Because what you're speaking into, DiYeena, has been such a like activator or perception shift for myself, of really understanding that especially when it comes to another person, right? I've seen this so often, and I've even had this happen in my own experience, of where you're just wanting someone to be different, or something to an experience with someone to have gone a different way, and wanting to change someone else's path because you feel like you see it in a better way. And really understanding, this has happened to me with some of my family members, of like, oh, if they just did this, then things would be better for them. And understanding of coming into deep acceptance of other people, and also we don't know what is actually good for another. We don't actually know what they're contracted to experience here. And it may look bad to us, but it may actually be the catalyst that their soul needs to experience to get the lesson of the whole reason why they even incarnated on this planet at this time in the first place.
Precisely. And when you get a little bit of the bigger picture, then you see, wow, all these souls that are choosing to have specific moments in time, you see, that look to us as an entire lifetime, and perhaps it's an entire lifetime of suffering. Why would a soul choose that? When you zoom out a little bit, you get a little bit of the bigger picture, you see. And so the deeper part here as well is, can we just trust each other? Can we all just trust each other that we all know exactly what the heck we are doing? Every soul that come, they know what they're doing here. Exactly, precisely, without question, without anything. You see, maybe they forget a little bit in the third dimension, and they have their free will to go this way or that way, but they know why they come, and they do the lessons. You see, even the ones that seem so lost, so disheartened, so much in pain, so off track, are precisely exactly where they are, where their souls are wanting to be. And so can we just freaking trust? That is really a bigger part of this whole perspective. So what are you actually trusting? It's hard to trust another, but what is it really bringing up is trust yourself, because everything outside yourself is a hologram, you see. So all these other aspects or beings, you see, all a projection of your own inner reality, you see. And so when you are able to say, well, I do not trust that person, or I do not trust that is good, you see, or I do not trust that is really, I don't trust God, perhaps, for that this person is suffering, or that this community is suffering, or that this country is suffering, or whatever the case may be, you see. But trusting, this is really an aspect of yourself. So see, so what part of you do you not trust? You see, when you look outside and you say, I cannot trust that area over there, that is really for the highest good for all. You see, well, then it gets to be an inner journey of where can we rebuild trust within yourself, for yourself, and for your relationship with the divine, with God, whatever you call, you see. But really that relationship with creation as creator, as you part of the co-creation of it all, you see. So you are in that constant co-creatorship with everything, you see. And can you trust all of it, you see? Can you trust the oneness of it all? And can you trust the illusion of the separation of it all? Because both have equal weight in this storyline, you see. So everyone doing what they're doing, having the best time of their life or the worst time of their life, you see. But it is exactly what is needed, you see, and it is exactly what is contracted, meaning they have chosen it, you see. So everyone has free will. This is the nature law of the universe. Everyone has the free will choice, you see, to make the choices of what they are choosing, you see. And so we have to give a little bit of grace, you see, in the story as well, that we just can trust a little bit more. That everyone's got it. We've all got it. We've all got each other. We've all got ourselves. And we are doing a great job. Every human doing a wonderful job at exactly what they come to do. The ones you consider the evil ones, you see, or whatever word you want to give them, they're doing a great job at it, aren't they? Doing very good job being the evil players, you see. We have great light workers out there doing their role as well, you see. So we are really all having a big party here. But can we give a little bit of appreciation for the role that everyone is playing in this play of consciousness, because it is what it makes it all alive, you see. It is what makes it all alive, for the fun of having the experiences that we are desiring to have, you see.
Wow. Yeah, that is so powerful. Just I think that that's just such a, going back to what you had said earlier of the trusting each other. That is such a piece that I feel like humanity's really navigating, right? Trusting themselves, trusting God, source, creator, whatever you resonate with, and trusting the collective, trusting that other people have it, and not trying to project what you believe would be best for them, and really trust that they know exactly what they're doing here in all of the aspects of it, right? As you're saying, right, the evil leaders that are out there, they're doing a great job at playing their role, and so are the light workers and everyone in between that came to play their specific role for the whole to come together. And the piece too of the everything is just this holographic kind of projection of your own experience. And so tuning into, right, what I heard you say was, if you don't trust another, what don't you still trust in yourself? And so really utilizing your experience and your reality as this sacred mirror to dive deeper into the introspection that you're being called into. And when you go into that deeper introspection and you feel into the layers of, where do I still not trust myself, and go into and start to navigate that, what you'll start to see is that you'll start to have a reflected reality where you start to trust more. People are showing up in a way where you're no longer feeling mistrust from others or betrayal, right? These experiences are happening, which maybe seem like less desirable experiences to be having, until you go in and navigate those deeper aspects of yourself, because that's how we're really alchemizing the collective shadow. It's going internally first, and that is really how we help heal the world and what we're moving through. And as I'm continuing hearing you say, even as we're alchemizing and healing, none of it is bad or wrong. It just is. And it's this evolution that we're moving through. And our souls knew that when we said yes to coming here. And so, something that I actually see often online is, people talking about how they're ready, for these higher dimensional beings to come down, the Pleiadians to come down to beam them up because they want to get out of here. And I don't think I think I've even joked about this. I don't think I read the fine print before I came down here, but we did. We really did. We knew what we were doing when we came here. And we know what we said yes to. And, I believe so deeply in my heart that you wouldn't have come here unless you knew that you could absolutely fulfill what you came here to fulfill. And, that doesn't mean that every day is easy, but that deeper understanding has really brought me into a place of, okay, no matter what storm I may be navigating, knowing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be and trusting in that deeper alignment that everything is happening just as it should in this divine design of what this whole experience really is. And that has led me into the deeper trust as well, and really surrendering into that. And so I just hope that that can maybe spark a little bit in all of the viewers of finding that trust within yourself and really surrendering into grace for yourself and for the collective and for all of humanity as we're moving through a really powerful time in humanity.
Precisely, my dear. We are in a powerful time for humanity, and we will close with this. You see, with a little bit of a blessing, you see that all of you are able to hold the compassion and the trust for yourself, for each other, for the collective, and to really just be in the frequency of the free will choice, to be in the frequency of love as you move through your life, as you move through your day, as you move through your experiences. You see, you have the choice point to hold in your heart the love frequency. And so we bless all of you that you are able to easily and gracefully be in the frequency of love and a frequency of joy as you move through your day, that you can be guided in your ways precisely in what you are meant to do here on this planet. We are so very proud of all of you, and we send blessings from the Pleiadian family and from the Living Ma. We love you all very dearly.
Thank you so much, DiYeena and the Living Ma. Welcome back, Ava. Such a powerful drop-in with DiYeena and the Living Ma. So grateful.
Thank you so much. And I trust that this message was exactly what you needed to hear today.
And if this resonates with you, please like this video and subscribe so we can continue to rise together on this ascension journey.
And we'll see you on next week's episode. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.